Welcome back to yet another episode. So today I wanted to show the technique that I use for capturing birds in flight and fast action things, and the settings that I actually use for autofocus or AF.C on the PENTAX K-3 Mark III. However, as you can see, there's absolutely nothing. No birds flying around. Everything is, it's just an empty sky. There's nothing really going on at all. So I can't really show you that, but what I will do is explain the differences with the autofocus modes: zone, automatic AF, select, small, medium, large, and hopefully that'll be able to help you decipher what settings for the autofocus system that you should use given the subject matter that you're actually shooting. Now, there is a difference in the way it acquires autofocus regarding AF.S and AF.C using the same mode. So full autofocus in AF.S will pick things up differently because of the subject recognition, I'm assuming, versus AF.C using full auto. Same thing with zone and so on and so on. So there's a cormorant, which is way out there. I don't know if you can actually see that or not, but there is, trust me. And I'm just going to fire this up. And let's see, what am I in here? Let's start with AF.S in full auto and see what it acquires, and then I'll switch to AF.C and so on and so forth. All right, here we go. And now I will switch to AF.C. And remember, this is in full auto. Now I'm going to switch to zone, put it back to AF.S. And now I will switch to AF.C. Yeah, it looks like AF.S seems to do a better job of nailing the focus. I'm not sure what's happening with the AF.C. But anyway, let's move on. Let's go to select small, which is just the center point, and then select select AF, which is the circular area in the center of the viewfinder. So that isn't going to make much of a difference. And I'll go to select small. And now let's go to AF.C, and I will go to select large. And now let's go to select medium. Now select EX small. Yeah, cormorant's not even looking over here anymore. Let's go one down, so it's the center circular reticle in the middle of the viewfinder. Okay, so now let's take a look at how the camera picks up where to focus in regards to the various autofocus parameters that you've set up, and let's see how that actually translates. Okay, let's take a look at the images here. So this first one, as you can see, is AF.S in full auto. All the red dots that you see are the red dots from all the various autofocus points that were used along the full autofocus array. And here's the initial point of focus, which is the rock, which happens to be just beside the cormorant. Now, even though it's the same image plane, for some reason it picked up the rock. I guess it felt there was more contrast there. I'm not sure exactly why it picked that. So then we go to AF.C, and you'll notice here the single autofocus point here, and that translates into this, just the water. Now it seems to be slightly consistent, and my budgie is mad because I'm ignoring her. Yeah, so it seems to be pretty consistent from my experience as well as others with the K3 Mark III in regards to the full autofocus, especially when you're shooting around water. My thought is that it's actually picking up the movement from the water. It's recognizing that, and it's thinking, since you're in AF.C, that's exactly what it is that you're trying to nail your focus on, is the subject that's actually moving. So using the trick of back button focus in AF.C, and then just letting go to translate that into single autofocus once you've acquired the initial focus is not going to work on this camera. You actually need to change the focus modes to be specific to exactly what you are capturing. And now here is AF.S again with zone autofocus, and you can see all the various focus arrays it picked, and that translates into, it just missed the head of the cormorant, but still did a decent job of actually picking up the subject I was intending. And now we go to AF.C in zone, and you'll see it picked a higher up focus point, which actually worked out a little bit better. But I think that one is not the norm. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, same thing. Next, I did this one a bunch of times because I wanted to see what was going on with it randomly picking the wrong area. And this one is this one's out of focus. That's not sure exactly what happened there. It's saying it acquired focus, but obviously it didn't. Second shot here. Yeah, so it's like it recognized that there was something there, but didn't do it right. So AF.S here in just straight select autofocus using the center focus point. Obvious result. Looks good. Same with this one. And then select, just plain select, no autofocus assist points or anything. And same with this one here. So yeah, it seemed, and then I did the expanded full. So it did pick the center array there. And this is in AF.C. And now you'll notice once again, so it's in medium, but it picked an autofocus point out in the water. So this one, I think I was just lucky. This one here, actually, wait, let's go back. So that... Okay, so in the center, yeah, just barely picked it up. If we go to the next one, yeah, it's just the water. That's all it picked up. That's all it picked up. So it seems that the algorithm for the AF.C, in order to understand how it functions, it actually is looking for movement. It's not as basic as the previous generations of PENTAX cameras. You can't do that back button focus. Well, you could try, but you know, it wouldn't be as reliable as just going into AF.S. I'm talking about using back button focus in AF.C, which is one of the advantages that we all know in regards to AF.C in using back button focus, is you can just use the back button focus. Once you've acquired focus, let go of the back button, and now you're essentially actually locked because the focus plane won't change. That doesn't seem to work anymore in regards to the new algorithm for this camera. It's literally looking for movement, and that's what it's going to actually pick up on. So, yeah. Yeah, so I thought it was actually pretty interesting in regards to how the camera's autofocus system actually works in comparison to what we're used to from the previous generations. At least those are my findings. So you definitely need to be on top of your game in regards to selecting the correct autofocus parameters entirely. From
AF.C to AF.S and zone and auto and select, because it really does seem to be that the AF.C system specifically looks for movement. It took me a long time to go through all that, and some people had mentioned it to me. Force of habit, I was used to the previous generation cameras and how they operated, where you could still lock onto something that was not moving by using AF.C with back button focus, and then you just let go of the back button. But that, to me, clearly does not work the way it used to now. So I've had to change my workflow in regards to specifically changing from AF.S to AF.C in order to get better imagery. Oh, see what I did there? Rhymed. But anyway, I just thought this would be a helpful video, and like I said at the beginning, it wasn't my intent to make this video. I was actually trying to do a thing of how I go about capturing birds in flight, but it is what it is. Sometimes things just don't quite work out, and you just got to adapt to the change. Anyway, if you like the video, leave a like. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. It does help me out. If you'd like to support the channel, I'll leave that information at the bottom of the description. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and you will see me on my next video. I'm out.